What's up? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Shauna. Nice to see you. Also known as Just Me Online. Yo, yo, yo. Anyway, I made a video yesterday about things that I had a little culture shock about when I came to Malaysia. Kind of threw that together and I thought of some stuff after the fact. So that's this video. So, first thing I want to say, have a list. First thing I want to say is, when I first got here, you'll hear this story in one of my other videos. I'll link it below. It might be in the last tour, maybe. When I first got here, I could not get into my Airbnb. So some nice gentlemen helped me find a hotel room, and those gentlemen were wearing skirts. So that's something that you don't see in the US for any reason. Like, occasionally, you know, you have the fashion people, and then you also have, you know, people whose ancestry involved kilts and stuff. But ever, like, had I ever seen that in real life, in my life in the United States? No. So that was interesting. It just kind of piqued my curiosity and made me wonder, you know, what country these people are from. They might just be from Malaysia. I'll get into that later. But sarong skirts. There's men here who wear sarong skirts. Cool. Regular t-shirt, long skirt on the bottom. I don't have an opinion about this other than I'm curious about it. I wonder why that is. Next thing on the list is ovens. So, as I understand, in my tour video, which I will link below, there is part of the video of the kitchen. You'll notice there is no built-in oven. There are no cabinets. All of the stuff that you store in the kitchen is underneath the counter. And then they have an air fryer and a microwave. Those are your ovens. They don't have ovens here, which is really interesting because I've noticed that even when I go grocery shopping, there's not a ton of bread. Like if you go to they obviously have it in the grocery stores. They obviously have pastries. They obviously have breads for like pizza and sandwiches and stuff in restaurants. But in daily life, people don't really eat bread like that. Like in the US, like I was eating bread all the time, especially as a vegetarian. I like sandwiches, and sandwiches always come on bread. So that was interesting as well to notice that y'all don't bake stuff. Like, what y'all eating? That's part of what I noticed with the food is that I find myself craving sugar because in the US sugar is in everything. High fructose corn syrup, etc., etc. And sometimes I'm craving like a pastry, something baked and soft and sweet. And that's not super readily available here, I feel like. They definitely have these baked goods at grocery stores and stuff, but can I just go to a convenience store and grab a pastry? I haven't been able to. So that's a thought. Ovens. I guess people don't bake that much. Another thing was driving on the left. So in the United States, everybody drives on the right. You already know about that if you're from the States or have been to the States. However, here they drive on the left. So obviously I knew there were countries in the world that did this, but I'd never seen it firsthand. And it's just reverse the way you look across the street. That's all I noticed. Reverse the way you look across the street. Like if you expect the car to be coming from the right, it'll be coming from the left. So really look both ways. And that leads me into the next point, which is like the driving style here. Very interesting. In the US, I didn't realize it until I left, but once I came to Malaysia, I realized that the US has like a driving etiquette. When you're on the road, even if people are driving fast, even if people are being not so nice, there's an etiquette. Like there's kind of like an order to the way that people drive in the States. Like you should switch lanes if you're you shouldn't be driving in the fast lane the whole time. You know that when to switch lanes and all this other stuff, even if people aren't signaling, etc., etc. However, Malaysian driving is chaotic. They have like this get in where you fit in kind of vibe. And then also there's a ton of motorcycles on the road. Obviously that makes sense. It's a tropical country. It does rain, but most of the time it's pretty hot. So that's a good vehicle choice. It's also, you know, not as expensive as a car. And it's getting where you fit in, baby. Like people will be pulling out into traffic and then they will just nose until they find a spot and zoom on out. With the motorcycles zipping in and out of cars, in the middle of lanes, everywhere, like get in where you fit in. And I really, really mean that. There's no everybody will stop to let a car go. No, there's everybody is doing their thing and you need to find yourself a spot. They will not give you one. You need to find it and hop in it. And I think a lot of people who drive in the US would not work well here, because there are some people, I used to have a driving pet peeve in the States. On highways or freeways, wherever you're from, on highways or freeways, there would be a merging lane, and there would be people who would not look for a spot to get on the freeway or highway until the lane ended. That made me so angry. You know why it made me angry? Because why would you wait until you have no more room to look for a spot to get into traffic? That's super dangerous, and it doesn't make sense. Also, it has a little bit of entitlement to it. You think people are just going to stop traffic to let you in? No. You need to be looking the whole time you're trying to merge for a spot for you to get in, so you can get in seamlessly into traffic. Good luck with that here. Like here in Malaysia, like I said several times, get in where you fit in. Nobody's going to wait for you. Nobody's going to pause. Nobody's going to let you in. You need to be muscling your way in or you're not getting in. It's that simple. Next one was the water filter. So again, on my Airbnb tour, there was just a long counter with like some things on top. One of those things on top was like this water filter. So I'm in Kuala Lumpur. So the water that comes out of the faucet is pretty chlorinated, I think. And I think I understand that in most homes, people have a water filter that filters the faucet water and turns it into drinking water. Primo. The machine that they have here has hot, warm, and cold water. So hot enough to make your ramen. And let me tell you something. As someone who loves ramen, you know, it's not a huge part of American culture, but it exists, especially for lower income people. For someone who loves ramen, to have this machine where you can put your ramen and seasoning in a bowl, put on the hot water and cover it, and then your ramen is cooked, that's fabulous. So I really enjoyed that. So don't need the microwave. And it always tastes better when you do it on the stove, doesn't it? Right? So that's fire. And then also cold water on tap. Delightful. You don't have to put it in the fridge. You don't have to freeze it. You don't have to have ice cubes. It just comes right out of the filter. And that's delightful, especially in this tropical country when it is very hot most of the time. So that's fire. And then the last thing that I wanted to talk about was the diversity. So I did not expect Malaysia to be so diverse. So even before I came here, I already knew, because I follow like Malaypan TV. They are a Malaysian and Japanese couple here in Kuala Lumpur. I already knew that there would be Chinese Malaysian people and Malaysian Malaysian people. But when I got here, I did not expect such a large Indian population, so much tourism from other Asian countries, so much tourism in general. And it's beautiful, actually. Coming from the United States, where there's so much diversity, you can see people from all over the world every day. US is very black and white. They see white people and they see black people, and everybody else is just kind of tertiary. But I personally really enjoyed seeing like communities of people from different parts of the world in my daily life. So to come here and see it too is pretty cool. It kind of gives a little bit of comfort from home. The US is not looking like home right now, but you know what I mean. It gives a little sense of familiarity that there are so many diverse people here. I really enjoy that. And then the last thing, editing shot of here, I forgot to tell you a very important point that I thought was really important at the very top of my list, and that was how far the US dollar goes. I'm going to insert in this clip because it's quite important. As I mentioned in my tour video, again, link below, the US dollar is just like, to experience getting 3 times the value for the same amount of money in a foreign country is crazy. You need to experience this for yourself. For example, just today, I bought a very expensive vegetarian meal. It was sweet potato fries. It was a tempeh pesto sandwich kind of a thing, and some kombucha. This is something I would get in the US because it's readily available, like vegetarian food. Now, that meal was 56 ringgit, 56 Malaysian ringgit. In US dollars, that was $10 and like $11. 56, 11. So what I have found is that having the US dollar has been like, this is how people with money in the States feel. You know what I mean? This is how it feels to to not scrimp and save and stress about how much things cost. And that's eye-opening for me because, to be honest with you, in the United States, formerly being a low-income earner, every dollar counted. It was hard to save, etc., etc. But to spend 130 ringgit on groceries, and then in US dollars was $22, mind-blowing. If you come to Malaysia, like, especially people who feel like it's hard to travel, and especially people who feel like they can't really afford things, and even people who have a good amount of money and they just want to see it go even further, I think it is worth experiencing that feeling in your life of going to a place and seeing just like actual value being given to you for a reasonable amount of money. Back to the video. Rush hour. So I'm just going to talk about this underneath the car section and the driving section. Again, chaos. Get in where you fit in. But something that I noticed is that rush hour takes a long time here. It's like 3 hours. So the traffic in Kuala Lumpur is crazy. And that's because they don't have that driving etiquette like I was talking about in the United States. There will be traffic in the US, but everybody is orderly. Everybody is in their lanes. Everybody is switching lanes, all of this other stuff. And then everybody's going in the same direction. If you look at it from above, it's like a flow. And in Malaysia, it's like, and because there's no order to it, when things get backed up, it takes forever because they don't have an unspoken system. Let this amount of people go and we'll wait. Okay, now it's our turn. Let this amount of people go and then we'll wait. Like, they don't have that unspoken thing. So because it's like that, traffic takes forever. Like, you have your regular rush hour, you know, like people going to get the rush hour people, 4 to 5, and then you have sitting in actual traffic 5 to 6. But sometimes it takes a couple hours for that traffic to clear. So by 8 o'clock, the roads are clear again, and that's kind of crazy. But anyway, this is the second part. Wish it was a little bit more fun for me. Another thing, the weather. So I did not pay attention to the fact that even though I've seen a lot of stuff about Kuala Lumpur before I got here, I didn't retain any of the information because I never thought in a million years I'd be actually living here. But it's hot. It's hot. I'm from Missouri, so all 4 seasons there. Winter be wintering, like it snows and it's icy sometimes. And to come to a country that's all tropical all the time, I feel like the seasons are still here, but they are just in a different form. And I don't like to be hot. I don't know why I didn't think about that before I got here, but also it's all right. I don't have to deal with winter either. And I also love rain, and it's been raining a lot. So I am adjusting to it, and I'll be honest, I'm not mad at it. So there you go. There's a few things that I found interesting about Malaysia when I got here. Hope you found that helpful. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if there's anything else you want me to tell you about my experience here in Malaysia down in the comments. I'm here for that. And also, this exists. And then here's the back. I think the back is super cute. And it is a notebook available on Amazon. You can see that down in the comments below. If you search this title, you'll also be able to find it in turquoise or pink. I personally, turquoise and pink, beautiful in my opinion. With this design is pretty gorgeous. And then also, I have a politically spicy Etsy. If you have not been liking the political climate in the US, I got some t-shirts for that. And they are very funny, so you can check that out below. Anyway, thank you for listening to me talk about things that I found like interesting in Malaysia. If you want my opinion on those, honestly, I'm just an open book right now. I'm just very curious, and I'm not judging any of it. These are just things that I'm not used to, and of course, I'll get used to them. Anyway, thanks for watching.